Liar.
Why liar?
Liar. He just lied about this last event, for example, is about he was the foreign minister of the UK. That lady was arrested in Iran. She was not there on holiday, and they knew it. They sent her there to spy, and she just plainly lied about it in Parliament. So they were to blame. There was nothing. He was completely aware of that situation. He lied about it. He misinformed Parliament.
But who he is?
Boris? Well, I think basically this describes it pretty well. As a journalist, he was lying. He was kind of like inventing. He was telling half truths. He was constantly swapping.
But he was mayor of London, right?
He was mayor of London. Yeah, he used to be mayor of London. He has been foreign minister. He has been a journalist.
Trusted,
he
right?
has been member of parliament.
Trusted, right?
So, I mean, but he's a very flamboyant figure. People like him because he's kind of like charming, as in a kind of like a boyish way, and he has a good way with words. But like in this documentary, it also becomes very clear that he has a little bit of difficulty with telling the truth, and he makes up things as he goes along. He very often says things that really so well, he's a very flamboyant character, but Trump loves him.
But how come he just...
Trump loves him. He recommended, basically, when he came to England last week.
Yeah. But how come he just... many people support him?
I know. I think they like him.
Why?
Because in the world and in the words of Boris Johnson, everything makes sense. I think that basically people are not really serious in finding solutions.
Why British people support him?
Because I think actually, like when you saw these people, he went on campaign, and the lady said, "Oh, he might have persuaded me," but. He's just using half facts and half truths, and it just highlights the story. He believes that as a politician, it doesn't matter so much to lie or to change your position or to do this and that. I mean, it's all about the bigger thing, and I think he's a complete fitting person in the entire European political spectrum. People are not really interested and do not have the confidence in looking at the nuance and finding a balance into the costs and benefits and seriously looking at the facts. No, people want to be entertained and they want to be persuaded. And, well, in Boris Johnson, he makes things persuasive, not necessarily by looking at the facts, but basically just quickly changing his position or just picking up some facts and displaying a one-sided story.
Why he left the position of Theresa May? Foreign minister position, right?
Why he left?
Yeah.
But,
he didn't work well with Theresa May?
No, well, what they say here is that they tried to. Why did he become foreign minister in the first place? Was to get him as far away from England as they could. So Theresa May, and obviously she's not the same character as Boris Johnson, not at all.
You mean Theresa May does not understand kind of flexibility or something?
No, she doesn't understand. I mean, and there's a lot of people who have difficulty with Boris Johnson. He's a kind of a maverick, unreliable, not always telling the truth. Because he's a kind of lovable, we forgive him. But you cannot put something like that in a very responsible position as a minister.
But why he got so kind of character? He got mayor of London and he got a
Because people like him, kind of like he's like, no, ちょっととんでもないやつだけど we can always laugh with him. He's fun to hang out with.
You mean similar to Trump?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like Trump is much more vile than Boris Johnson. But they have the same thing. I'm convinced that Trump is lying half the time, and he's saying things and later on denies it that he said them, and he's doing things different than what he says. So there's a lot of things that you can say about Trump that are also true for Boris Johnson, but I think that Boris Johnson is not as mean and vile as Trump is.
Well, he's just Boris Johnson strongly against EU.
Very interesting, because actually he wasn't always. He was very pro-Europe for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But he changed his position, because I am convinced he changed his position because he thought that he could win political supporters by becoming pro-Brexit. He felt that there was political gain to be made becoming pro-Brexit. That also gives me the real impression that he's a professional politician, not to fight the cause because the cause is worth it, to fight the cause because he can win with it. He's doing it for himself. I don't think he's doing it for Britain or for anybody else but himself.
So he changed his mind.
Yeah, very often.
Mm.
He swaps very, very quickly and very often. So he changes his minds on many issues, but very fundamentally.
So he's supposed to win.
Yeah, he will probably win. Yeah. But I really feel that this is not a very good situation, because Boris Johnson, as I said, he's not principled. He doesn't really care whether it is a cause to fight for. It's a cause that people feel, that he feels that the people want to support. So he will choose whatever the people want to do, whether it's good for them or not. That's not the point. That's not the issue. He's not a principled
You're
politician.
talking about populist?
Populist, yeah.
You're talking about populist?
Yeah. I think that he has this in common with Trump. Trump really understands what people really feel, what's on their mind. And he doesn't try to deny it. He just says, okay, if this is what the people want, this is what I give them. He not for nothing, he was the president of the American Wrestling Association. This is something that is really tondemonai entertainment. It doesn't give people anything, right? It takes money from people's wallets because they want to be entertained. They don't get any benefit out of it. It doesn't make them better. It's just entertainment. And Trump gives it to them because he feels that this is what people want, and this is what he's going to give them. As a business person, this is something that you want to do. If you can give people what they want, you can make money. So this is what's been driving him. So Trump is a business person in business as well as in politics. And I feel that Boris Johnson is the same kind of person. That's why Trump trusts him. That's why he can trust him, because he will be opportunistic. And that's where they have common ground. And of course, he loves the fact that the UK will become independent of the EU, so that will give them great opportunities for the United States. He already promised them to give them the best trade deal ever. Well, it will not have any impact. They already calculated this, but nevertheless, it will give them best trade deal ever. So yeah, this will actually, if Boris Johnson becomes the Prime Minister, which is very likely, then yeah, this will be another populist. but in the style of Donald Trump.
So British will going to make a bilateral agreement for trade, and
But actually, the trade volume with the United States is significant, but nothing compared what they do with Europe. So the whole impact on their GDP will be very limited.
you mean the British and US?
Yeah.
So what going to the relationship is British and Europe?
Well,
Actually, they are half of the trade is British is dealing with Europe,
with
right?
Europe, yeah.
So what's going on? They're going to.
Well, this is going to be a hard Brexit, the way that I see it. It's not going to be. I don't think that they're going to make any arrangements. They're going to be able to do that. It's probably going to be a hard Brexit. So that's going to be that's significantly going to hurt them.
It means they're going to make a different agreement by country.
Yep.
With like a
Well, no, actually, it's going to be with the EU, of course, because nobody has any benefit. The members of the EU will insist on negotiating.
No, I'm talking about, for example, Germany.
Yep.
They're going to make a trade agreement with Germany after Brexit.
No. I think Germany will not say yes to that. Germany will make an agreement. Will be the leader of creating an agreement for the EU with the UK, but not as a member, as a third party. So that means that the conditions that they will get will be not as good as they.
What kind of agreement they're going to proceed on with EU?
Well, that means that basically, like any other countries, that
like Norway style.
They will raise import duties, and they will create all kinds of barriers for England to export to EU. So that means that the British products will be less competitive for European customer, and they will sell much less of it. So this will cost the.
It means they're going to pay tax.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
How do you think about how do you think about Ireland?
Ireland. Oh.
Northern Ireland.
Right.
It's currently very heavy issues. How consider for border Ireland and Northern Ireland, right?
Right.
This is open issues.
Right. I don't know what that's going to happen.
And Scotland.
Yeah, basically it could become independent. So it could become like Scotland actually is going to become independent of England, and the UK still cease to exist, and Scotland will remain on as a member of the EU.
But oil is actually belonging to Scotland, right?
Right.
So England will going to lose right of oil.
Yeah, that's going to cost England a lot if they are going to become independent.
Not much.
It's going to cost them a lot.
So how do you think about after Brexit, British GDP and economy?
It's going to take a hit, definitely. I think they will have less opportunities.
Hit means going down.
Going down. Because, like, basically, there are not a lot of goods that the UK, England, produces that they can't get in European countries. Now, if you take that similarity and then look at the situation where the taxes that will be leveraged on goods that come outside of the EU into consideration, then the attractiveness of British goods versus European goods will significantly drop. So a lot of trade that was currently done between England and other EU members will disappear in favor of other members in the EU.
But actually, they British export in Europe more than 40% of their export.
Right. So that's gonna significantly be reduced. Yeah. Plus, I mean, England is also like this a financial center. There are a lot of businesses over there. These businesses cannot afford to be outside the EU. They want to have their revenue in the EU because they have easy access to other EU countries without having to pay taxes. So these businesses will move their headquarters away from London to probably the Netherlands because of our fiscal climate for multinationals.
But financial center cannot move from London.
I'm not sure whether they can keep it there.
But it's tremendous, like...
I mean, it could become Frankfurt, why not?
Nothing there.
Doesn't matter, you just need a bunch of computers.
Not only computers.
Well,
many companies.
Right, but Frankfurt, no, that's not true that Frankfurt has nothing. But Frankfurt is a very unattractive, uninteresting city somewhere in Germany. It's dry, nothing to do. It's really, I mean, not a lot of financial people would enjoy moving there from London, but
human resources I'm talking about.
Yeah, human resources. So, but people, I think that actually, I wouldn't be surprised that if the financial capital of Europe becomes Frankfurt in favor of London.
When the second round election, we're going to finalize within a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. We can be pretty sure that Boris Johnson will become the next Prime Minister. Which is, I'm sure that if you know him, you would say, huh?
Yeah, but so that is my basic question. How come he's going to be the British Prime Minister?
But this is well, okay, so one of the reasons is that the members of the Conservative Party are going to vote. It's not like the general public is going to vote. The members of the Conservative Party are going to vote on the presidents. And they have much more of a background where he comes from Eton College, and this is typical profile of members of the Conservative Party. This is not millions of people. I think it's about 140,000 members they have. And
you mean the Tory party?
Tory, yeah. And I think basically the Tory party has been hurt a lot. But what's happened,
he had the leadership for Tory?
Well, I think what they want, what the Tory party will be afraid of, I think that they feel that, okay, Theresa May didn't have any charisma, right? So that's a problem for the Tory party. They lost terribly in the European elections. So if they are not going to take a position on Brexit or not going to deliver on Brexit, it's going to be bad. Now, if they're going to go with Boris Johnson, at least they know that they have somebody who is popular, who is good in the media, who has a lot of charisma, and who is good with Prime Minister
You said that he's charisma.
Charisma.
So he can organize his party.
No, he just does well in the media.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, journalist.
Yeah, so he just does well in the media. So people like him. So there's always, like, when there's a press conference, there's always some laughter or things like that. He will, but he shoots from the hip, not from facts or whatever. It's a bit like Trump.
So currently, the Labour Party and Tory Party is split. but so he can organize those people.
I mean, the basic issue is that we have here is that Labour Party and Tory Party, that what it actually is the employers and employees. It's the people who have money or not have money. But nowadays, the politicians is not so much about left and right anymore. It's about liberal democracy.
That's right. They're losing support from British people, right?
Right, because British people don't no longer think in left and right. They think in, okay, who is going to nationalism versus globalism. That's the big issue today. So a lot of these political parties in the middle, they have the problem to reinvent themselves, and people at the extremes. So we have on the extreme right wing parties like Marine Le Pen and the Italian Salvini. They are finding a position because they are in this spectrum, and on the other hand you have the Green Party, who also gained a lot during the European elections.
But how do you think about Brexit Party?
The Brexit Party
is nationalism?
The Brexit Party is a single-issue party. It's about nationalism. And it's not about left or right. It's about nationalism, about national pride, about British values, about anti-neoliberalism, because that is basically the religion of Europe, right? So Europe is about.
Do you know the Farage, right?
Yes.
Farage.
Yeah.
Farage is good with Boris Johnson?
Yeah, sure. Of course, they're the same kind of people. Obviously.
Farage is right wing, right?
Farage is not, well, okay, so Farage is not right wing. I say Farage is about conservatism. It's about anti-neoliberal. It's about maintaining British values. Is about globalization. Is about England keeping control. It's not about left and right. So that's the basic issue. That's why so many political
I understand
parties.
what you mean. Yeah, I understand what you mean.